Since breaking the RC car world speed record twice, you've had hundreds of questions. Today I'll answer the biggest ones, reveal what's next for the Mach Reaper, and you'll see whether it's faster to 250 than a Koenigsegg. Hey, here I am back in my garage, suffering in the crazy heat that we've got in the UK at the moment. That's why I look a bit sweaty probably. And I'm doing some last minute dyno testing once again because ROSSA Round 2 is next weekend. Why do I always end up doing this dyno testing right at the last minute before an event? Well, now's the perfect opportunity to answer your Mach Reaper questions. So let's get into it. The first couple are about seeing what's going on. And my doors started banging. So seeing what's going on. People are asking, why don't I use an FPV camera? Well, actually, I'm already starting as far down the runway as you can get, almost on the concrete pad down there. And I can see the car, so I don't need to do something to get more runway because I'm already using it all. So I can see the car, and also I think the low viewpoint you get if you had an FPV camera on the car would actually make it harder to see where the car is on the runway and where it is relative to the reference dash line going down the middle of it. So that's why I don't do it really, and why I'm not going in that direction. The next one is that we want onboard footage. Will you fit a camera? Well, I've listened to that one, and yes, I am going to fit a camera. And I've invested in this Insta360 Go 3S, which comes out of its little pod like that. So you can see it's a tiny 4K camera there that I can easily fit onto the car. And I've got a plan for how I'm going to do that. So I've made this little service hatch replacement piece with a little camera holder in it. So the camera will sit in that. I'll put it in instead of the usual service hatch, and that'll get some nice footage, hopefully, as it bombs it down the runway. So hopefully in the next video you'll see that, along with a racebox overlay even. That would be amazing. People are asking, how do I keep the car straight? Is it on autopilot? And the answer to that is no. I'm constantly driving it. It's just me driving it throughout. I've got to admit though, when it's in the distance, the current and the torque control that the speed controls have got is really useful, because it means I can put the throttle to 100% with confidence that it's not going to lose traction and start slipping around and skipping and going into the bushes. So early on in the run, all I'm having to do is just make small corrections to get it on the right line relative to the centre of the runway. And then after that, I'm not really sure how much I'm doing. I might not be doing very much, but I don't really know because I'm concentrating so hard. But I want to find out, so I'm going to use that Insta360 Go to capture some stick cam footage as well at the next event. So hopefully I'll have that to show you soon as well. Next one is one that comes up a lot, wheels and tyres. So what's RPM are the wheels doing? They're doing about 23,000 RPM. Pretty insane, eh? And why am I using foam tyres? Why not rubber tyres or even metal wheels? Well, belted rubber tyres are actually available, called GRPs, but by 150 miles an hour they've probably let go in a big way, usually taking the car out with them. And on that front, foam is safer, I think, because it shreds into little chunks rather than just letting go completely and taking out the car. Foams also have a little bit of cushioning which acts like suspension that rubber tyres or urethane or metal wheels wouldn't have, and that would limit the traction with the ground and cause the car to bounce and skip around, probably making it lose control. So for those reasons, I think foam tyres are the best option for RC speedrunning right now. And I've been doing a bit of tyre testing, and I want to do even more. Maybe even trying some of your wheel reinforcement ideas. So hopefully I've got time for that in the future. Now, a bit of a serious one. Is this safe? People are worried because they're seeing my car going past at 250 miles per hour and the spectators and the other competitors standing just behind these metal fences looking like they're quite nearby. But actually it's a bit deceptive. You know, there is some separation there. The risk that is there it is managed by the runway layout and the way that things are positioned. So, for example, the barriers, they're obviously back from where the cars are running, and the pits are a long way back from that as well. And the barriers will stop a car. They have before. They look quite flimsy, but they're actually welded steel barriers. So the car will not get through those. And another point is that at the high speeds my car's doing, its momentum is carrying it in that direction. So for it to suddenly veer off and go into the pits, it's probably not going to happen. It's actually less likely to happen than on a slower run, where the car could be more easily knocked offline and make a sort of more sharp deviation like that. So to summarise, there is a risk, but it's well managed at the event. Now we're on to a couple of detailed design type questions. So first one's to do with electronics. I get asked, why haven't I got bigger wires, or why don't I fit bigger wires to help reduce resistance, for example? Well, actually, because I'm running quite a high voltage, 18 cell, 75 volts, it means that the current is actually on the lower side. So I'm getting a total of 280 amps out of the batteries on my runs, and that means there's 140 amps going from these connectors here to the rear ESCs and to the front ESCs, which is easily handled really by an 8-gauge wire. So that is sufficient. These 14 gauge motor wires do also look quite thin, but I can't really change them, and I haven't really found any need to either, so I'm not going to. So hopefully that answers that one. I've got a few questions about the aerodynamics, and the first one is a great suggestion really, which is, why didn't I put the antenna in the fin to reduce drag? Well, I did actually want to do that, but then when it came to the car's layout, it became clear that it was going to be very challenging. Have a look at this. So if we line up the body shell with the car there, that's in its bolted on position. The back of the car finishes here and the fin is way back here. So it'll be really difficult to get some sort of system where the receiver is right at the back and then the wire comes out, and yeah, you'd have to be removing the receiver every time you put the body on, or threading the antenna through in an awkward way. So I didn't really want to do that. So what I did do is keep the antenna as short as possible and also stick it through the tallest point of the body shell so that it wasn't sticking out as much as it did on the Beast car. So I did it as best I could, and I did want to do it joined up with the fin, but it wasn't possible. Oh, front arch vents. I meant to keep the body shell over here. So front arch vents, that's something else that people have suggested. The idea of having vented areas above the front wheels, and I did actually try that in CFD when I was working on the Beast car body design, and I didn't actually find any benefit, so that's why I didn't do it. And this last aerodynamic type question, it's a really good one. Could I put a load cell in the front suspension to try and measure how much load is generated by the canards in terms of downforce? And with that information, I could either look at it after the run and cut the canards down if it's got too much downforce, or I could actually have active canards that move to optimize the downforce, which would be amazing. At the moment, I haven't got time to do that, so that's going to be something that I might look into over the winter, because I think it's a really good idea. And another one, a little bit more on a serious side, but people are asking, why doesn't my car look like an RC car? And they're saying it shouldn't be considered for the world record because it doesn't look like an RC car. But you know, when it comes down to it, this is my innovative take on what an RC speed car should be, and it's optimised for one thing only, and that's speed. I mean, full-size land speed cars don't look like normal cars either, so why should these? And it's also worth remembering that RC speed pioneer Nick Case's car that he broke 200 miles an hour with for the first time was also completely custom. Innovation pushes boundaries. And there's nothing stopping anyone else coming up with something innovative. In fact, I welcome it. I want to see other people's innovative takes on what an RC speed car can be. Next one, I knew this one would come up, but the speed the car got, 250.67. Yeah, very funny. And finally, what's coming next? Well, the first step that I'm going to try is more power. High voltage has given me some good speed gains in the past. For example, with the Beast car, I first ran it on 12S and got 196 miles per hour, then 15S for 213. Then when I went to 18S, that's when I got 234 miles per hour. So for ROSSA Round 2, I'm hoping I can go to 20 cell from my current 18S setup. But I am worried that the speed controller settings will go unstable, which is why I've been thrashing out loads of runs with my dyno to try and get some confidence in that setup. And I'm also worried that the tyres are going to hold me back from even higher speeds. So then what am I going to do after round 2? Well, I was thinking, how can an RC car go faster without stressing the tyres? And the answer to that is non-wheel driven. And there's loads of options for this. Some of them hard, some expensive, most of them both. Like rocket motors, gas turbines, hybrid rockets, electric turbines, the list goes on. And as always, I've found some inspiration from the full-size speed record cars. My idea is this. I'm going to bring the Beast out of retirement for a special mission to see if we can push on even further at ROSSA Round 3 with the help of a rocket. So the car will be a hybrid and won't fit into any particular category, but you know, pushing the limits of RC speed doesn't need to fit into a category. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And let's finish up with a fun fact and a bit of a comparison with the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut, which is the ridiculously fast world record holder for the fastest time 0 to 250 miles per hour to 0 for a full-size car. And it's got a 5.1 litre V8 engine with over 1500 horsepower. But let's focus in on its 0 to 250 miles per hour time in comparison with the Mach Reaper at the Yes Mate speed event. .18 seconds. Well, my car, the Mach Reaper, did it in 12.80 seconds, which is over 25% faster. Absolutely staggering. Oh dear, that's an awful joke. So thanks for all the questions. Feel free to leave more down below and subscribe to see what happens at ROSSA Round 2 and for what insane stuff might happen next.